So today we continue with our class Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. And we start with a safe Chofetz Chaim. Right? And it's actually not actually the sefer, but at the end of the book. So they give us some stories. Right? Vignettes from life of Chofetz Chaim, from the memory of his son Ari Leib, HaKohen Kohen. Okay. So the commentary said this Vignettes excerpts from a memories found in the third volume of Kol Kisvei Chofetz Chaim, HaShalem, and written in the Chofetz Chaim's son's words. Okay. So let's see. Reflections. In two worlds at once. Those who knew my father and who were imbued with the light of his fear of God and Torah wisdom recognized that his greatness was far beyond that which has been depicted by writers who have written about him since his passing. So, okay, so no words can describe how this holy Chofetz Chaim, and if you see his picture, this is not his actual picture, right? I don't know if you know, it's not. So if you see, it just became popular that people using this picture for him. Okay, but there is a documentary video actually on what is it online, and like few seconds when you have his image. In truth, he was a unique individual. His essential greatness was that while his simplicity made him appear as one of us, nevertheless his head reached the very heavens. You see, out of all of the people in a crowd, he's the simplest one. Tiny person. Very interesting. His many written works, which have been disseminated among the Jewish people, and which studied in every Basar Medrash, right, bear witness to all that he accomplished. So in every Basar Medrash, they study Chofetz Chaim. Basar Medrash is like yeshiva. It is well known among our generations that my father was not only one who preached well, but also one who beautifully fulfilled with alacrity the sense of his mission. All that he sought from the listeners. So whatever, sorry. So our Mishnah said, if your rabbi, if your teacher is not does not possess the character traits as an angel, don't learn from him. You understand? So whatever Chofetz Chaim learned, he was taught, he was living it. Many times I heard him say that the laws discussed in various forums are all obligatory upon each and every Jew. Though my father personally adopted very good custom or mode of conduct that he had learned of, nevertheless, he never demanded of others that they accept such customs and ways upon themselves if they were not required by halacha. So Chofetz Chaim was, as we going to learn, he's the author of Mishnah Brura, one of the most important body of halacha, one of the last that concluded, at least for Ashkenazim. That's who we follow. Okay, so let's stop here. And we continue with our Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. BeEzrat HaShem, this kosher kitchen class is coming. I don't know when, maybe next week, maybe in 2 weeks. But anyway, we continue the subject of kosher. And last time we started the new Siman 46, and our topic was the loss of forbidden foods. So we explained all of this different. No, not all, but some of the forbidden foods. So let me quickly recap. 1 second. So we discussed the blood in eggs. We discussed blood in fish, right? We discussed the blood that came from a person when he beat a piece of bread, let's say. When we discussed the blood that is found in the milk. And the last thing that we discussed is actually meat and milk together, that was cooked together. Okay. Okay, so now the CF number 6, new one, still continue this this type of mixing the milk together. Okay, so our rabbis instituted certain safeguards to protect against inadvertent mixing milk and meat. What is it? The two Jews who are acquainted with each other, even if they act wow, I don't know this word, gently toward each other, okay, are prohibited to eat from eating together at one table. If this one is eating meat and one is eating dairy food, unless they make some distinctive reminder that will alert them of avoiding eating each other food. So let's see the commentary and we're going to explain. When acquaintances eat at the same table, they sometimes share their food. This gives rise to concern that one eating meat might mistakenly partake of his fellow dairy food, and vice versa. This precludes the possibility. The sages forbade two people who are familiar with each other from eating meat and dairy at the same table. This applies even when the acquaintances are begrudging, begrudging types who would charge each other for any food eaten, as long as they would not prevent each other from taking the food in the first place. Very interesting. Two wayfarers who do not know each other are exempt from this restriction. Okay, it's Hulin, Talmud Hulin 107b, Shach, Yorodea 8082. Okay, so let's see. So two people who acquainted with each other, even as in commentaries say, maybe they're greedy people and they would charge if you want to take a piece of my chicken, okay, you have to pay. Okay, or something like that. So, but they know each other, so maybe a person would be able to pay, would be willing to pay, let's say. So they are not allowed to eat together at the same table, I guess, and also in a close proximity, unless they put some kind of reminder, some kind of barrier, we're going to learn, that is going to remind them not to take the food from another person's plate. I mean, as we explained last time, I don't know, maybe people behave like that. I mean, I understand in the family when kids take from each other plates, but adults, I don't know. Especially friends, maybe wife can take from the husband's plate, but adults, I'm not sure. I mean, I never took anything from my friend's plate, and no friend ever took from my plate. I mean, I don't know. An example of this. So one more time. So it must be a reminder, right? It must be a reminder in a way of tablecloth, or they say in a commentary like placemat, like something, or right, or some unusual object that usually is not found on a table. Okay. So, and it would be a reminder that something is different. So do not try not to remind not to eat from each other's plate. Okay. Okay. So commentary says such as a loaf of bread, from which they are not eating, or the candlestick. The article must have some weight, some height. I'm sorry, some height. Okay, you're there. So okay, so it's not like flat. So okay, some candlesticks. Very interesting. So usually, today's, let's say Thursday, people don't light let's say Shabbos candles on Thursday, right? So to put them on a table, so it would attract attention, not to eat from each other's plate. Continue. They also must be careful not to drink from the same vessel. For the food that he eats commonly adheres to the vessel from which he drinks, and thus they may consume the mixture of meat and milk. So let's read the commentary and we're going to explain. Even if they are sitting at separate tables, and even if they are not acquainted with each other, they may not drink from the same vessel. Shach 88:8. I mean, in olden days, maybe that's what people did, but today everybody have their own cup. Even though you can pour from the same bottle or from the same pitcher or from the same jar or whatever we have, right? And you can pour in one cup and another cup, and it's proper. If you eat like dairy food, so you would have dairy cup, even though you're not drinking dairy, right? You're drinking tea, hot tea, right? So still, since you eating dairy, and when you like put this cup into your mouth, so of course the residue is going to be on this cup for sure. Okay. So in this specific case, they say no. If they're going to drink from the same cup, so the issue is that the one who is the issue for both of them, right? So the one who eats dairy is going to eat meat with dairy because of the residue. Of course, it's less than kizayas. Of course, it's only residue. Of course, it's not visible. Of course, we understand that. But after the fact, yeah, he ate meat and milk together. Okay, so we finish that. Next one, number 7, and it says certainly one must also be careful not to eat from a single portion sized loaf of bread with both meat and the dairy meal. Okay, so let's see. Let me read one more time. Certainly one must also be careful not to eat from a single portion size loaf of bread, single portion size. So it's like a dinner roll or something, right? Of bread with both meat and milk and dairy. So okay, so let's see the commentary. What do they mean? Hopefully, I hope they're not going to bite from that. Or even if they touch, if they tear apart, still if they eat with his hands, whatever they eat, so it's going to be residue on that bread. But let's see what they mean. Commentary: the bread used for the meat meal may not be used for a daily meal, and vice versa, because the concern that it was touched with a moist piece of meat, of course, or a dairy food, and some residue adhere to it. So of course, I mean, it's a very minute parts of meat or milk, but that's still, as we said before, it's still eating meat and milk together. So we're trying to keep it as far away as possible. Of course, as we said, it is rabbinic, but still rabbinic is very, very important. This refers only to an individual slice of bread, right, or a small roll that one intends to eat with a meat or dairy meal, such that he did not guard it from becoming meaty. When partaking of the large loaf of bread, intended for use for both meals, the dairy meal, both for meat and dairy meals, one is usually careful not to let meat or dairy come into contact with it. Thus, it may be used for both types of meals. Nevertheless, it is commendable use different loaves. Igros Moshe, Yoredeya 1, chapter 38. Further details of this law discussed in CF 12. So let's try to understand. So they say if it's a small loaf, right, like small meaning like a dinner roll, right? So it's usually it's not shared. It's for one person. But if and this one person usually thinks that he's going to finish, so it's his personal loaf, right? So he would not be like thinking twice, and even with soiled hands from the food, from meat. Let's say he handled chicken, whatever he handled. So he would be able he would touch this roll, and then another person would eat this from this roll from in his daily meal. Okay, that's the problem. But when they have a like lunch loaf, so you cut piece, right? You cut piece, you take the piece, and usually people are careful because this loaf, some like if it's a huge loaf, so maybe it's going to last you for two or 3 days, the whole family. So usually people in this case they would be careful because since it is a parve, right? Since not meat and not milk, so all of the other members of my family can eat it with whatever they want. They want to eat with cheese, they want to eat with chicken. It's up to them. So people usually careful, right? But the individual size, not so much. Okay, so that's the logic behind it. Similarly, it is custom to designate separate salt receptacles. One for use with meat foods and one for use with dairy foods. For sometimes one dips food into salt, and some remnants of the food remains in the salt. These remnants might be transferred to the other types of foods when it is dipped into the salt. So here we're talking about the case when people dip food in a salt. But if it's a salt shaker, and if you don't use it for a hot food, there is no problem. You don't need to get a second set. But if you use a food like if you dip into the salt, yeah, in this case for sure a person must get the second type. One for dairy. I'm not sure what dairy people dip in the salt. I'm not sure. Maybe they do, but I'm not sure what. I mean, I don't have any good examples right now. Okay, but if they do whatever they do, so just keep keep separate. And same actually when you're cooking. So that's what we're going to discuss in a kosher kitchen class, right? When you cook and for example you have this pot, right, with the meat on a stove, and you want to add salt. So since it is steaming, right, it's it's going to be a residue of the meat on the salt. Right, so next time when you want to put salt into dairy dish, guess what? This steam is going to dissolve this residue from meat, and it's going to go into your dairy pot. Of course, it is minute. You don't have to kosher, and it was not nullified, but still we don't transgress not knowingly. So if you know that it is possible that this scenario to occur, so we try to avoid it. So in this case, get two separate salts. So salt, I mean, usually they salt like from a big package, not from a shaker. So to get two of them and keep separate. That's it. Okay. Similarly, customary to this. Okay, I apologize. We said that. So commentary on the remnants, right? This refers to the salt receptacle into which one dips the food, not a salt shaker. Nevertheless, it is common practice for separate salt shakers for meat and dairy. Okay, then you can buy. I mean, if you want to stay on a safe side, as I said, the only problem when you salt something that is hot. So if you salt something that is cold, there is no problem. Okay. Maybe another issue, I guess, maybe if somebody, especially kids, they take it with soiled hands, and so this cheese from the pizza or from whatever is going to be all over this salt shaker. So if you have small children, I would say it would be advisable to get separate sides. Okay. So continue, number 8. It is established custom to have separate sets of knives and other utensils for meat and dairy. When these utensils are of similar appearance, it is a custom to mark the knife that is designated for dairy foods, and similarly to mark all of the other utensils designated for dairy use with identifying feature, so that they should not become interchanged with the knives and other utensils designated for the meat use. Okay. So it's very, very, like in olden days, we have to understand, in olden days, it was very, very hard. You have to mark as we're going to explain right now. But today, just buy like sets that very dissimilar. That's it. Very dissimilar, and all of the serving spoons, for example, many years ago, when we were looking to replace our old sets, many years ago. So we got serving spoons with the red handles for meat. It was like unbelievable. It's like maybe 3 times more expensive than the black ones. It's like mission impossible was to get it. But it was many years ago. But before that, it was unheard of to have a different color of the handle. It would be like stainless or black, and that's it. And that's basically 2 choices. But today they make all of the different candles, whatever they want. You want green, so right? You want black, whatever you want. So for example, we have 3 sets, and that's I think that's the easiest. So we have black for Parve, not meat nor milk. Red for meat, and white for milk. So I mean, it's impossible to make mistakes. I mean, of course you can make mistakes if you don't pay attention, but so all of the red ones are for all of the red knives, or right, all the scissors that we use. It's all for meat, and then you can add some people add also another set, or whatever it's not obligatory, but some people try to be, many of my students, so they try to be stringent, and they go even separate sets for fish. It's not necessary, but they try to keep separate knives. Like how many fish knives do you need? Maybe 1, and then scissors to cut it, and that's it. Okay, that's very commendable. So, and I just do a different color. So we do blue. Okay, so color coding, that's what it's called. Okay, commentary. Okay, so one more time. So we commented, it is established custom to have separate sets of knives and other utensils for meat and dairy. So it's not only knives, it's forks and spoons, and proper to have cups, as we said, because even though you're not drinking, let's say, coffee with milk, let's say, right, or with creamer, so still you're eating, let's say, cheese, or you eat your cereal, right? So still the residue from the milk is going to the cup, for sure. 16. The Rama Yorach Day 89.4. Sirama, right, 89.4. The reason is that when utensil is used for a hot or sharp food, exactly as we explained, it is absorbs some of flavor of the food. Should the utensil be later used for the hot food of the opposite type, it would impart the flavor it absorbed into the food, and could render it prohibited. That's how serious it is. So that's why we emphasize that if it's hot, so then the taste of the food that you eat, which is hot, and hot is above Yad Seledas Bo, like when it's cooking, right? It's going to impart into utensil. Okay, even if used exclusively for cold foods, there is a concern that the residue remain on utensil, which might be transferred to another type of the food. Further details in Loaf discussed in CF12. So we're going to get to CF12. So there are already second reference to CF12. So even this author is saying it's very interesting. Even if you use for cold foods, right? So maybe you're going to forget to wash this spoon properly, right? Or you did not going to wash. Like it creates all of the issues. So just get separate sets, make like different designs. So of course, I mean. They're usually stainless or I don't know from whatever material they are. So make them like very different. So you're not going to make mistake. Okay. Continue. When these utensils are of similar appearance, it is customary to mark the knives. Right, we said knife that is designated for daily food, and similarly to mark all other utensils designated for daily food. Okay. With identifying feature, whatever is good for you. So I just gave you the color codes that we use and what I advise others, but it's not. It just like visually, it just logically makes sense. Meat is red and the milk is white, and the most popular color for this handle is black. Okay, so that's for part of you take black knives and like servant spoons and stuff like that. Right, so they should not become interchanged with the knives of other utensils designated for meat use. Commentary. The mark need not necessarily indicate the utensil designated for daily use, since it is a universally accepted mark to mark daily utensils. Any marked utensil is assumed to have been designated for daily use. So okay, so Rima. So Rima said, Shulchan Aruch said that if you mark only one utensil, that's enough. Okay, so if you mark only daily, so I guess it's my personal understanding. Since people usually don't eat daily so much, so how many, as I said, how many daily knives you need? Maybe one knife. You need to cut cheese. I mean, one knife is enough. Maybe two knives. That's it. But for meat, you need different kinds. Maybe like even individual knives, right? If you eat steak or something, you also use knife. Or you eat chicken, you use knife. So for sure you need many more knives than for daily food, right? Which is usually soft or stuff like that, right? So it's easier to mark minority, so and leave majority unmarked. So that's but it's in Shulchan Aruch's day. So as I said today, should not be an issue to have like color coded all the utensils. If utensils were interchanged, there is a meat dish was cooked in a daily pot, or seared with a daily spoon, or if a pot became splattered with a food of the opposite type, the status of the utensil and the food depends on numerous factors. Then I'm going to explain. It's a long explanation. This includes the nature of the utensil. There is whether it is a pot or serving utensil or a plate, when it was last used for the hot food, and the temperature of food at the time of the mishap, among other factors. Indeed, countless possible mishaps can occur in the kitchen, and each situation is subject to its own law. Therefore, whenever the meat, a daily or Parve utensil, come into contact with food or another type, proper halachic guidance must be sought regarding the status of both utensils and the food. Comprehensive discussion on these laws of the reader is referred to The Kosher Kitchen by Rabbi Binyamin Frost, Art Scroll Mesorah Foundation, 2009. That's exactly the book that we're going to learn BeEzrat HaShem. So let me just give quickly overview, because I don't think even in that book it's the first chapter. I'm not sure. Like for sure it's not in the beginning. But let's just read one more time, and we're going to ask questions, right? So to make you aware of the possible issues, right? We're not going to answer it because, as he said, I mean, we maybe provide short answers, but not comprehensive answer with all of the details. Okay, that's beyond the scope of this class for sure. Okay. So one more time, and we're going to explain every thought. So it says that if utensils were interchanged, for example, meat dish was cooked in a dairy pot or stirred with a dairy spoon. Okay, so let's stop here. So it's possible. So for example, I always recommend people to get, since it's not expensive, much more expensive, almost it's the same price. So for meat, get red color pots. That's it. It's so simple. So 20 years ago, 25 years ago, it was like almost mission impossible to get red pots. I mean, it was much more expensive for sure. Today, it's same price, maybe even cheaper, right? So like most likely you're not going to make any mistake. But if, for example, they stainless steel or different materials, then they don't differ too much from each other. So somebody cooked meat in a dairy pot, right? Or it was dairy pot, and the person took meat stirring spoon, right? A stirring spoon, and start stirring. That's second scenario. Or a pot, and the next one, or a pot becomes splattered with the food of opposite type. So, for example, in our family, we never ever cooked at the same time, right? So on like dairy and meat on a stove top next to, in a close proximity of each other. Okay, of course it can splatter, and the steam can go from one to another. So that's not proper thing to do. But if people have no like huge family and they need these kids, young children, they need milk, then they need this, they need that. So and you must do it. Okay, so try to keep it like as far as possible from each other. But if it splatters, like from milk, they splatters on the meat. So what do you do? Right, and of course it depends on numerous factors, of course. So first factor is whether it's pot stored in the utensil or plate, whether it is a pot or stored in the utensil or the plate. So that's very interesting. Why? Because plates are usually not used, usually, not always, but usually not used with very hot food. So maybe there is no problem to begin with. Maybe, right? Maybe, we'll see. Pot, okay, that's a problem for sure. Stirring spoon, also, we'll see what could be an issue. And a very important factor also, how long, when the last time the pot or utensil was used. So we have this ben yomo, right? This definition of ben yomo is 24 hours. So if it was used more than 24 hours ago and it was cleaned, so in some instances we're going to rule leniently. In some, so I'm just giving you a little heads up, right? But of course, okay. So they say, of course, there are many situations that can arise in a kitchen, right? And usually it arises when man is trying to help. Trying to get helpful. So women very rarely, so I get a call from like very rarely that they would ask this question, because they know like even in the middle of the night you wake up my wife and she would tell like where each spoon is, right? And this plate is like I need a cutting board. She said no, it's on this shelf on the left side, but you have to leave this because it's on the bottom. It's like unbelievable. They remember all of the things. You understand? Okay, any questions on what we said? Any questions? Okay, somebody's trying to ask. 1 second, maybe my sound is off. Okay. Any questions? I didn't hear. No? Okay. Okay, so number 9, and it says, if one ate meat, or even only meaty food dish, for example, food cooked with a meat gravy, he should not eat any dairy foods until he waits 6 hours. Similarly, one who pre-chews meat for a baby but does not swallow it must also wait 6 hours before partaking dairy food. Now, even if one waits the requisite amount of time, if he subsequently found meat between his teeth, he must remove it before eating daily. However, if one is not required to wait an additional 6 hours afterwards, that is, after removing the meat from his teeth. Rather, he must merely wipe out his mouth and rinse it. That is, he should eat some bread and with it wipe out his mouth. And also rinse the mouth by drinking water or some other beverage. He is then permitted to eat dairy immediately. Okay, so as you can see, it's a lot of information. So now we're talking about the waiting period. Of course, you see it's Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, it's all condensed, but he gives us the most important points. So let's do from the beginning. There are a lot of commentaries, and we're going to add whatever we can. So it says, if one ate meat, or even only meaty dish, for example, the food cooked with a meat gravy, he should not eat the dairy foods and wait 6 hours. So I would say even the soup, right? You have chicken soup, and let's say chicken was removed, and they added vegetables. So this is for sure meat. Okay, any questions? Yes, go ahead. You want to ask a question? Or, okay, no problem. So okay, so all of these are considered to be meat. All of the soups, all of the things that were cooked with a gravy. Sometimes people cook I don't know, like spaghetti and then add the meat. So this spaghetti for sure, even though there is no meat, for us it is meat. So between this soup, like chicken soup, it's for sure meat, or this gravy or meat, like meat itself, you have to wait 6 hours. Okay, 6 hours until you can eat daily. Similarly, if one pre-chew the meat for a baby but does not swallow it, must also wait 6 hours before partaking of daily food. So today we have all of the food processors, all of these grinders, not grinders, all of the blenders and stuff like that. So you can, what is it called? That this thing to process meat grinder, right? So you have meat grinder. So technically, you don't need in order to feed your baby, you don't need to chew. But in my days, that's what people do. That's what people did, right? They chew this meat for a baby and then put it in a baby's mouth, because the baby did not have teeth and stuff like that, or only a few teeth. Okay. So even though the mother did not swallow the meat, but she swallowed the saliva, and saliva, of course, has meat, and in her mouth, it's still meat for sure. Okay, so let's see commentary. There are two reasons given for the required wait. One reason is that the meat leaves a fatty residue and lingering taste in the throat for some time. And to ensure that the residue not mix with the dairy foods eaten afterwards, one must wait 66 hours for it to dissolve. Rashi Chulin 105.8. So our sages knew that she did not swallow the meat. That shows she was very careful, but still the residue is there in the fatty. So fat is not so easy to wipe out, to wash down, right? Not so easy. Continue. The other reason is that the meat particles might remain lodged between one's teeth and might then mix with the dairy food. But after 6 hours, these particles decay to the point that they are no longer classed as meat. Rambam Hilchas Machlos Asuros 928. So even though some, like that's why you have this toothpick, right? So if a person ate meat and did not remove the meat that stuck between his or her teeth, so if person eats, like let's say they rinse their mouth and stuff like that, and so it's not going to help, because if they're going to start eating less than 6 hours, one of these food particle that stuck between one's teeth can come out, and they're going to eat meat and dairy together. So, but after 6 hours, it's decay. It's like tasteless, I would say, right? It's not, so even though it is meat. So if you remove your teeth, so you see, yeah, it is meat. It looks like meat. But halachically, it's not meat. Very interesting. So something that is spoiled is not considered to be food. At least for humans. Even though it is food, if you give it to your dog or your cat, of course they're going to eat. But for humans, it's not food. Continue. According to the first reason, one must wait 6 hours, even if one eats meaty food dish rather than actual meat, since the food leaves a fatty residue in one's throat. But one need not wait 6 hours if he merely chews meat and does not swallow it. Okay, so what is the problem? According to the second reason, the opposite is true. One need not wait if he eats meaty dish, since there is no concern for the meat becoming lodged between one teeth. So that's why. So before we continue, that's why our sages gave us two reasons. So 2 reasons to cover all of the scenarios. So one reason is they say pieces of meat are going to get stuck between one's teeth. One reason, and second reason that the fatty residue is going to be in the throat and in the mouth, right? And it's not going away so easily, right? Okay. So that's why they needed the second reason to cover all of the bases. Okay. So let me read this sentence again. According to second reason, the opposite is true. One need not wait if he eats meaty dish, since there is no concern that the meat become enlarged between the teeth, right? If you had only gravy or you had chicken soup. But one must wait if chew actually meat, even though he does not swallow, right? Because the pieces of meat can get stuck between the teeth. The halacha follows both reasons. Exactly. Hence, we abide by the stringencies emerging from both reasons. So it's Tur Yoradea 89.1. Therefore, one must wait 6 hours, even if he ate meaty dish, and even if merely chewed the meat. So it doesn't matter. You chewed the meat, you did not swallow, or you ate meat, or you ate dish with a meat gravy, right? Gravy is a liquid, or chicken soup, okay, or the like. If, however, one merely tasted meat with his tongue and then remove it from his mouth, he need not wait 6 hours. Though he must wipe out and rinse his mouth as described below. Pri Hadash 89:18, Shulchan Aruch 89:14. Okay, so for tasting, if it's somebody just tastes, right, and then a woman wants to spit out, right, because she wants to eat, let's say, dairy. So she can do that. She can rely on this opinion for sure. So it was 18. Continue. Now, even if one waited the requisite amount of time, if he subsequently find meat between his teeth, meaning a person ate meat, right, and waited 6 hours. After 6 hours, he decided to drink his coffee with milk, and guess what? He found a piece of meat stuck between his teeth. He must remove it before eating daily. Okay, even though we said it's not considered to meat any longer, but still we must remove. Commentary. This follows the first reason mentioned in the preceding note. According to the second reason, one would not be required to remove the meat particles. For once 6 hours have passed, they are presumed to have decayed to the point that they are no longer considered meat. Okay. So that's why our sages gave us two reasons. We always have to wait 6 hours. However, one is not required to wait an additional 6 hours, right, after he found this extra piece of meat after waiting 6 hours, right? There is, after removing the meat from his teeth, rather he must merely wipe out his mouth and rinse it, right? That is, he should eat some bread. So actually, bread is, I mean, they say here bread, but, and wipe up his mouth and wipe it out and wipe. I'm sorry. He should eat some bread, and with it wipe out his mouth. So, but actually, we eat any like solid food that you need to chew. That's enough. But let's see. And also rinse his mouth by drinking water or some other beverages. So eat something hard or mizoines, whatever, piece of cookie, and then do like rinse it with a liquid. So rinse it meaning that you can swallow or you can spit out, like if you rinse with mouthwash, whatever you do, doesn't matter. He is then permitted to eat daily immediately. Counter. So this solid foods, yeah, it says, or any other solid food except flour, dates or green vegetables. See Shulchan Aruch there. The foods must be swallowed, not merely chewed. Okay, so the food swallowed for sure. Okay, and then you rinse with the liquid. It's very interesting. So let me check time quickly. Okay, we have time. So, but 6 hours, once again, we always wait. Number 10. If the food dish that one ate did not contain any actual meat or gravy, but was merely cooked in a pot that has been used for meat, then even if the pot had been rinsed well, it is permitted to eat daily immediately after eating that food. Okay, let me read one more time. I think I made one mistake. So one more time. If the food dish that one ate did not contain any actual meat or meat gravy, meaning it was just empty pot, right? But was merely cooked in a pot that had been used for meat. So usually, right? And even if the pot had not been rinsed well. So it's very interesting. So had not been rinsed well, meaning there is some residue, right? It is permitted to eat daily immediately after eating that food. So meaning what? That they cooked potatoes in a meat pot, right? And then they ate these potatoes, and the question is if you're allowed to eat cheese after you ate these potatoes from a meat pot. That's the question. Commentary. The meat residue that may have remained in a pot is not considered sufficiently significant to require a waiting period. The food cooked in the improperly rinsed pot may not, however, be eaten together with daily food. Okay, after, after, yes, but together, no. It's very interesting. See Shach Yoredeya 89:19. So let's try to explain. So it's our situation that we say they cooked, let's say, these potatoes in a pot. So if it was clean pot, and if it was clean for more than 24 hours, there is no problem. But I would suggest, to be on a safe side. And today, as we said many times, these pots cost that do not cost much. So just get a third set, which is Parve. So all of these foods, like potatoes, pasta, and other things that are Parve, right, cooked in a Parve pot, meaning it's not going to be not meat and not dairy. And then in this case, according to all of the opinions, it's not after the fact. It's lechatchila. It's to begin with. You can eat with dairy, and you can eat with the meat, whatever you want. So for example, you did this. You cook these potatoes, and you want to do mashed potatoes with butter. No problem. So you just put it, of course, in your plate, and mash this potato and butter, add milk, whatever you add, enjoy, no problem. And then later on in the day, you want to eat this potato with chicken, no problem. You put on a meat plate, warm it up, and enjoy. So that's the easiest way to keep kosher, to have 3 sets of dishes. Okay, dishes and pots. Okay. So 41. Continue. Number 11. If one ate soft cheese, he is permitted to eat meat immediately after it. Thereafter, at another meat. One second. That's something wrong. If one ate soft cheese, he is permitted to eat meat immediately thereafter at another meal. At another meal. Okay. However, this is provided that he first examines his hands to ensure that there is no residue of cheese remains adhered to them, or that he washes them in water. Also, he must clean between his teeth and rinse his mouth before partaking the meat. Okay, so let's do this part first, and with commentaries, and we're going to explain what it says here. So one more time from the beginning. If one ate soft cheese, so soft cheese like this cottage cheese and soft cheese, or even mozzarella cheese, it's soft cheese. All of these cheeses. Okay. Okay. If one ate soft cheese, he's permitted to eat meat immediately thereafter. So it's still in a category of milk, right? It's still soft. And we spoke before about the hard cheese. The hard cheese that takes from minimum 4 to 6 months to make. Some of them takes to make few years. So it's very expensive cheeses. So those cheeses, hard cheeses, we treat as meat 100%. Not as meat. I apologize. It's not as meat. Cheese is cheese, but we have to wait the waiting time exactly as it was made, 6 hours. But after this mozzarella cheese, this monster cheese, that all of this American cheese, we wait. We don't have to wait, right? So he's allowed to eat it in the next meal. Coming to him. There is after he recites Birchas Hamazon or Bracha Achrana for a daily meal, and follows the cleansing procedure that will be described. Okay, he is permitted to eat meat. Okay, the Mishnah Brura 494:16, however, rules that after cleansing the hands and mouth, as Kitzur will describe, one may eat meat even during the same meal as soft cheese, right? So here we were saying, and we actually follow with what Mishnah Brura says. Okay. So you can what they're saying, you can split this meal in two. So meaning you finish your cheese meal, right, or dairy meal, and then and they say if you ate bread, so say Birchas Hamazon, or say the after blessing, whatever that after blessing you needed to say. For example, you ate cereal with milk, okay, whatever you ate, doesn't matter. And you can say the after blessing, right? And then continue with meat meal. Of course, you have to wash your hands. We're going to explain. But actually, as Mishnah Brura said, it's not necessary. So, and that's what we follow. So, if you want to eat meat right after you ate this cheese, no problem. Go rinse your teeth, wash your hands with soap. No problem. You can eat meat right away. So it does not have to be a separate meal. Separate meal session, meaning that you're not obligated to say blessing after you ate cheese and other dairy products and then start separate session. Not. It could be one session. Continue. However, this is provided that he first examined his hands, but I also do. I mean, you see, in olden days when they did not have this indoor plumbing, and they would have to go to the well to get this water. So if they could avoid not to wash their hands, so which was a big deal, and then you have to take this dirty water somewhere. So it's like it was a totally different life. To life today, when you have soap, liquid soap, you have running water, you have sewer, you don't have to take out the buckets. That's just go and wash with a soap to be on the safe side. Right, that's what we said today. Okay, to ensure that no residue of cheese remains to adhere to them, or that he washes them with the water, right? Or okay, check your hands, or just wash them with the water. But that's what is suggested, right? Wash them anyway. Also, it must. So even though maybe you did not touch the cheese, so you ate it with your spoon, right? You did not touch. You ate cottage cheese. Okay, you did not touch with a spoon, or you ate cereal, but maybe you touched the container, utensil, cup, this spoon, whatever you touch. So to be on a safe side, so we always recommend. Of course, it is not necessary, but very recommendable. So even if you do not notice that your hands are soiled, just to be on the safe side, go wash it with wash your hands with the soap. Okay. Just 1 second. And also must okay, so we did that, and he also must clean between his teeth and rinse his mouth before partaking meat. Okay, so because even cheese can get stuck between the teeth, and any food, whatever you eat, can get stuck between the teeth, and that's what we do not want, right? We want because if you're going to have some piece of cheese stuck between the teeth, and now you eat meat, so they're going to, guess what, they're going to mix, and you're going to be eating milk and meat together. Commentary. The denture wearer who drinks hot milk or eats only dairy dish is permitted to eat the meat immediately afterwards, as long as he cleanses his hands and dentures of dairy residue. Just as one is required to cleanse his own teeth after drinking hot milk or eating a hot dairy dish. He does not have to be concerned with the denture absorbed flavor of hot milk and require caution, because generally speaking, if one can drink the milk, it is not enough hot to impair flavor. It is not Yatzel Desbo. Igras Moshe, or Chaim, chapter 5. So it's Igras Moshe. It's the greatest rabbi that ever lived in America. in the past, I don't know how many years, I guess forever, it's Moshe Feinstein Zatzal. So it's this answer is taken from his response. Okay, so when people ask me what the few publishers I actually published Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, I said for me it's only one publisher. That's only this art scroll, because nobody did as good job as they. So they actually translate the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. It's not so difficult. It's a simple language, right? But they went and checked, and these references they compare to what Shulchan Aruch said, what Mishnah Brura says, what Moshe Feinstein Zatzal said. So he said that denture, right? It's of course dentures are artificial. So a person might think, so maybe I have to get a second pair, and I know some people do get a second pair for. Okay, they want to be on a stringent side, no problem. But as Moshe Feinstein said, that is not necessary, because if you're able to drink this coffee, let's say, so most likely it was not that hot to begin with. So what does it mean? Hot meaning yatzel bo. Yatzel bo, when you touch the pot, so your hands recoil. That's yatzel bo. So most likely it was not that hot. So don't worry, but follow exactly the same procedure as a person with his own teeth. Go wash your teeth, go brush them, or whatever they do. They remove it, brush it with whatever they do, and rinse it. Eat something hard, no problem. Plus 23. Continue. Hard cheese is subject to the most stringent standards. Oh, exactly. What we got to this hard cheese. However, it was if it was hard cheese, that is to say that it's set with the stomach of the animal and aged for 6 months. So here they say 6 months exactly. So we had said 4 or 6, but I think in modern technology they do it in 4 and 6. Okay, or it is wormy. We're going to check about these worms. Then, if one wishes to eat meaty foods afterwards, he must wait 6 hours. So all of these hard cheeses, so we're going to see these hard cheeses must wait 6 hours. So it was set with the stomach of an animal, right? And was aged for 6 months. Let's see what it all means. Okay. Rennet, the enzyme found in the stomach of some animals, cause milk to curdle. So, and you can, just so you know, that you can, the way I understand, you can make a cheese only for milk of kosher animals, I think. So other milk is not going to curdle. Thus, in early times, cheese was made by placing the stomach of the slaughtered animal into milk. In olden days, okay. Citas Yeredeya 159. Regarding why this does not create forbidden mixture milk and meat, right? So okay, they say see there why it's not forbidden eat like if you take a stomach of the animal, right, and put it in the milk, why it's not considered milk and meat together? That's a good question. When aged for 6 months, cheese becomes very, very strong and leaves behind residual fat and flavor that lasts several hours. Therefore, after eating this type of cheese, one is required to wait 6 hours before eating meat. Right? See Shulchan Aruch 89, 11. So that's halacha is very straightforward. The same rule applies with cheese that hardened without being set in an animal's stomach, whether with rennet or with artificial enzymes. I think that they do something from dates, I think. Okay, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, that they do it. If it's like so hard, so for sure it's you have to wait 6 hours after that. As long as it's aged 6 months or more, it is considered hard cheese and requires 6 hours wait before meat may be consumed. Okay. So halacha is very straightforward. Si shach, si primagadim, mish mishbetzos chazav. 89 form. Okay. Nowadays, many hard cheeses are not aged for 6 months. Okay. However, there are some aged cheese on the market, such as aged cheddar, as opposite the ordinary cheddar. So how which is what? So these hard cheeses, it's like double or triple the price. So that's how that's a hard cheese. Okay. And Swiss cheese produced in Switzerland. Swiss cheese produced in the United States. Wormy. So what does it mean, wormy? However, it is general not aged for 6 months. Okay. See Kosher Kitchen. Okay, so they send us back to our book that we're planning to learn anyway. So meaning what, that today they can create some kind of pressure, like and this cheese is going to be produced faster. That's why I said 4 months. That's where we'll learn in another place. It's very interesting. Okay. Wormy. So what is this wormy cheese commentary? Under certain conditions, it is permitted to eat worms that form in cheese, as elaborated in CF 44. Okay. Eating wormy cheese is akin to eating meat, in that is required a 6-hour wait before consumption of the opposite kind. In this case, meat is permitted. Okay, so I'm not sure this about wormy meat and how healthy, but just to remind us, we learn in this series online in Hilchos Dios of Rambam. Rambam said if you want to live long and healthy life, don't eat this cheese. So he said a few things not to eat, and one of them is hard cheese. It's very not healthy for your stomach. I mean, it's very tasty, but not healthy for sure. Okay, so he has to wait these 6 hours. Then, if one wishes to eat meaty foods afterwards, he must wait 6 hours. Okay, so after these hard cheeses. Any questions on what we said? Okay. Any other question on any topic? Because I think we're going to stop here. Let's start with a new topic, number 12.
Rabbi, is all hard cheese kosher?
No. It's of course not. No. So this, as we just learned, so you need special like part of the stomach of animal as an enzyme to start the process, so to start the hardening, and they can. So when they do kosher cheese, they take this part of the stomach from the animal that was properly slaughtered, right? The kosher animal, kosher. They are kosher from let's say from the cow, but that was they slaughtered do shchita, and it was kosher. But Gentiles, they do from whatever they want. So of course, no, we cannot. We can eat only kosher cheese, and the hard cheese that they said here. I mean, where I live, it's possible to find, but it's very expensive. It's like double or triple price easily. You understand? So it's usually Swiss cheese, but doesn't matter. Yeah. So not so if there is no kosher stamp on a food, for sure there is a reason for this food not to be kosher, unless it's fruits and vegetables. Whatever grows from the ground is automatically kosher, or from the tree. Doesn't matter. But all other things like animal and animal products, for sure, they must have a stamp or different mixtures.
Is there anything that's automatically kosher besides fruits and vegetables?
to be safe to eat? Okay, fish. So if you know that this fish have fins and scales, yeah, you can buy this fish. So for example, sometimes sometimes long time ago, right? When we ate more fish, so I would go to Chinese fish market and get the full fish, right? Or this from the boat we would get if we see them coming from this fisherman. So we get the full fish, and I would scale it and clean it. There is no problem. So yeah, you can buy without the kosher stamp. But if the fish was scaled, that's it. You cannot buy it. So that's it. It's whatever is going from the ground, fish and eggs. For eggs, I mean, some people say it's preferable to have kosher sign, and on some eggs there is a kosher stamp, but it's not necessary. It's not. Okay. But in all other foods, they can do, especially with today technology is for preservatives, they can add whatever they want. You would not know, and they're not obligated according to government law. They're not obligated to put this on a packaging, right? Because it's not food. It's not part of the food. It's something like for preservation purposes. That's it. Some gas or whatever they use. So unless it says kosher, don't eat it. And even if it says kosher, but it was processed, I'm sorry. And even some fruits and vegetables, they were processed. So unless there is kosher stamp, don't eat it. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So no problem. So today's Thursday, so we stop here, and I just want to remind everybody. So this Shabbos is going to be the longest Birchas Hamazon in a year, right? So just remember, because the Shabbos is going to be Rosh Chodesh, Teves. So we're going to in Birchas Hamazon we will need to add a piece for Chanukah, addition for Chanukah, addition for Shabbos, and addition for Rosh Chodesh. All three things. Okay, and what else? And when you pray Mussaf on Shabbos, Mussaf on Shabbos, there's a different prayer, different. So usually in most Siddurim, when they have English and Hebrew, right, or a different language in Hebrew, so they split the page. So in all Siddurim that I saw, of course I didn't say all of the Siddurim. So in many, like in our scroll, in other also, so they have like split page, and whatever is Rosh Chodesh coincide with Shabbos, it's on the bottom. That's 2 hints. Okay, so we stop here. So
can you repeat that one about the
Mussaf. Okay, so this Mussaf on that is going to be this Shabbos is very different from regular Mussaf. So this Mussaf happens, I don't know, maybe 2, 3, 4. I don't want to say 4. Maybe 2, 3 times a year. I'm very rare. So just be prepared. So it is different Mussaf. Like in the middle, it's a different Mussaf. So first 3 blessings, of course, the same. Of course, it's always the same. But part about Shabbos, like Shabbos insertion, is different. So usually, so if you have for example, you have English on the left side and Hebrew on the right side. So in a side when you have English, but it's going to be, this page is going to be split, like, right, split horizontally, and the part is on the bottom. I saw it in 5 different Siddurim, right? People ask me to check. I saw it it's always on the bottom. So it's when Mussaf coincides with Rosh Chodesh, when Shabbos coincides with Rosh Chodesh. So that's it. And of course we say on all of the days of Chanukah we say Hallel, right? And we don't say Tachanun. Okay, that's it. That's basically it. And whoever goes to shul, we take 3 Sefer Torahs. So one for Parasha, regular Torah portion of the week. One is for Chanukah, because on Chanukah we read different portion every day, every 8 days, all of the during 8 days. And and one is for Rosh Chodesh. 3 Sefer Torahs. Okay, so just pay attention. It's not as every month, not as every Shabbos, and not right. It's very, very different. Just pay attention. That's it. Okay.
Did you say one takes 3 separate Torahs to shul?
Yes, yeah. In a shul that they would take 3 if they have. Usually they have more than 3. Usually, in most of the shuls, because they have to read from different parts of the Torah on the Shabbos, right? So in order not to wait for people to wait while they roll the Torah, it's like too much of the work. Like it takes them, I don't know, like 5 minutes, 7. It depends on the people how quickly they do it and how fast they can find the place. Usually they prepare the right place before Shabbos, and then on Shabbos they take 3 different Sefer Torahs, and then it's very fast. That's it. So it's a very special event, and usually people say, like in many shul that celebrate a special day when Chanukah coincides with Shabbos and plus Rosh Chodesh. It's very, 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 very holy day when all of the 3 holidays like combine. It's triple holiness. Okay. So all right. So let's stop here. And unless somebody have questions. Okay, so we stop here. So until next week, BeEzrat HaShem. Thank you very much and good Shabbos.